If you attended our workshops where we made the Latin American Composition Altered Journal, you would have received a kit similar to this. So in your kit, you would have received the focal point, an embossed card, two book cloth pages made out of fabric on paper, and then two jelly prints for end papers. If you're at home making this journal along with us, you can gather your own supplies. Now this composition book I got at the Dollar Tree along with the note cards. These napkins I already had on hand, and they match well with this flat quarter fabric quarter piece that I picked up at Joann's. And I also saw this available at Walmart as well. So this flat quarter piece is 18 by 22. So it's a good enough size to cover the journal. Now some of the other supplies that you'll need on hand is some freezer paper, some wax paper. I like using the sponge brushes because I'll be using Mod Podge to adhere everything. Need a ruler, scissors, pencil, and masking tape. So let's get started. So I'm going to go prep my fabric and napkins. So the fabric, as you see, has seams in it, so I'm going to iron it out. The napkins have two plies, but I've already removed one sheet, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So here's a napkin that I have, and most napkins come with 2 sheets or 3. So this one has 2 sheets. So I'm just going to separate that. So now I have the one sheet and this separate piece here that I'll probably use as a cleanup sheet. So these 2 napkins that I had in my stash are already separated. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to iron them onto freezer paper. And I'm going to iron this flat quarter fabric out as well. So I'll see you back here at the table in a couple of minutes. I have ironed my napkins onto the freezer paper, and one of the things that you want to make sure of is that you iron your napkin onto the shiny side of the freezer paper, because that's the side that has the plastic on it, and it helps the napkin adhere to the paper. On the other side, it's just plain matte color. There's no gloss on it. But this is the side that you want to iron your napkin down on, the shiny side. And I've ironed out my fabric as well. So what I'm going to do here is just sort of measure off my fabric, because there's more than I need. I want to leave like about an inch overhang. And I want to measure off an inch up here as well. So I'm going to take my pen. I'm just going to put a mark right there, a little above. That should give me plenty of space. Now where that mark is, you can either cut it if you want. So one of the ways that you could do that is fold it in half. Measure. Give yourself about an inch there and an inch there as well. And I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark. Make a line. And I'm just going to cut on that line. Okay. Now I have some fabric for something else. All right. So since I folded it there, that gives me a pretty good straight edge. So now I have 2 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and open up my book. Just sort of find the center, open it up, and lay it down. I'm going to get my wax paper. I'm going to put a sheet. I probably should have made it a little bit longer. I'm going to make it work. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. Get another piece. And put that on this side. On the inside flap, just lift that flap up. Put the wax paper down. Now I'm going to get my masking tape, which I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to just lay that on the edge to keep that spine of the book, that black area, nice and clean. Now I'll put one on this side as well. All right, so now I'm ready. Since this fabric is pretty thick, I'm going to be able just to lay it down and glue it directly onto the book. Now here you want to make sure that you don't put too thick a layer. So I put a nice even coat. And I do a little bit at a time. So maybe about 2 inches at a time. Now I'll make sure that's nice and coated. I'm going to take my fabric, that edge that I cut, I'm going to put it right on the edge of that masking tape. Make sure I have enough overhang on both sides so I can turn it over the book cover. All right, push that down a little bit, and I'm going to lift that up, put some more glue. And remember, keep your glue not too thick, but enough to give yourself a good coverage. I don't know if you can see how much glue that I have on there, but I've made sure my surface is covered. Okay, now I'm going to press that out. Press that down, make sure you have good adhesion. And I'm going to do the other side. So I'm looking for that clean edge that I cut. There it is. Put my glue down. Nice thin even coat. You don't want to put too much or it'll seep through the fabric. But you want enough on there to grab your fabric. Okay. I'll put that up here. Make sure it's sort of even on both sides. Move that up to the edge of the masking tape. Press it down. Pull it back until I see, there we go. And finish gluing the rest of it. The reason why I do a little bit at a time, so it's easier for me to sort of make adjustments to get that edge straight up to the spine. And then I can just come back and finish it once I get it straight. Again, we want a nice even coat. Okay, and smooth that out. Okay, so I am going to let that dry. One of the tips that you can use, one of the things that I do, is I take my brushes and I wrap them up in some plastic, and it just will help keep them from drying out while I'm waiting for my projects to dry. So I'm going to move this one out the way, and I'm going to start working on my end sheets. So here are the napkins that I ironed onto the freezer paper. Now I make a template of the inside cover of the book. Because I make a lot of these journals, so I just make a template. And as you see, I just went around the edge on a piece of paper and then took it all the way into the center. So I'm going to take this, I think I can close this, move it up here, out of my way. All right, and I'm going to put this on this napkin. Then I'm going to just trace around my template. So you may not be able to see it, but there's a line. Now I use 2 napkins for this because one might not cover. So there's one napkin and then there's the second one. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Okay, there are my 2 end sheets. I'm going to go ahead and prep this little card. It was so cute. I got it at the Dollar Tree as well. There were little note cards, but I felt like it matched my fabric and the napkins very well. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down the seam. So this measures like about 3 3/4 inches wide. So I'm also going to mark 3 3/4 inches to see where that falls, because I want a square. So there's 3 3/4. That puts it about right there. 3 3/4, measuring down. Measure down here as well, 3 3/4. I'm going to mark a line, and that's the line I'm going to cut on. Now, one of the things I like rounded corners. So let's see, what do I have that I can use? So I'm going to use the end of my little paintbrush here. Put it up to the edge and just put a mark. And I'm going to do that in all 4 corners. Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors and just cut those little corners off. And I have my little focal point for my journal. Let me put that aside. And I think this is ready to turn over. So let me remove the tape. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this over to the side so I don't get my pages messed up. Now I do have some extra fabric that I'm not going to need, so I'm going to bring my ruler up, measure, just bring my ruler up to the edge to give myself a little border. And there's a little line here, so I'm going to cut on that line. All right. Then I'm going to bring my Mod Podge back out. And I put some on my brush and I just feather it out. As you see, I come back on the book a little bit and then I feather it out onto the fabric. So I bring my corners in first, pull them down, make a triangle. I make a triangle. Okay, both corners. So I need to put a little glue there, a little glue there, a little glue there. Okay. And I'll fold that down. That down, make sure that's nice and close to the edge of the book, and bring that also down. Find that you need to add a little glue, go ahead and do that. Okay, that's all nice and adhered. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add our end sheets while I'm already have this open. And they will go like this. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure it's not too long. I do see that it's a little bit long on this side, so what I'm going to do is just trim off a little bit before I put it on. The glue down. I'm going to spread that around. I'm going to try to get up into this corner, get up into the seam area. I'm going to get the edges really well. But remember, not too much glue. Make sure we have nice even coverage. Now if you're noticing that your book, like my cover, is starting to curl, that's normal because of the moisture in the glue. As it dries back out, it will flatten back out. So I take this end paper, I put it almost close to the edge. Okay, if you find some areas where it's not sticking, then you may need to take it and put some more glue on your paper. There you go. Okay. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. As you see, I have plenty of fabric over here. I'm going to take my ruler, put it right up on the edge of the book. Mark that. And as you see, I have like about 1 inch there and 1 inch there. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut that excess off. Take my glue, and I'm going to do the same thing like what I did to the front of the book. Come in a little bit and feather it out. So you'll see there's glue on the edge of the book, and then I feather it out onto the fabric. So make sure there's enough glue on the fabric. And remember, you don't want too much glue, but a nice even coat. Okay, I bring in my corners. I make a triangle. Both corners. Make sure it's close up against the book. I can feel the book there. And then I'm going to put some glue right here. And I'm going to fold that down. Make sure that's nice and tight up against the book. Fold that up. I could use a little bit more glue there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere my end sheet as well. Make sure I get enough glue on my edges. And remember, if your cover is starting to warp or bend, that just has to do with the glue, that's the water that's in the glue. And as it dries, you can flatten it back out, so that's not going to be an issue. I wouldn't worry about that. I just want to make sure I get enough glue on this area. What you're looking for is nice, even coverage. Okay. Take my end sheet, take it to the edge, and I usually leave a little bit of gap off the edge. Press that down, make sure I have enough glue. Seems like I could use a little bit more glue. It sort of dries out. Here in Texas, sometimes it's pretty hot, like it is right now. So sometimes my glue dries out before I can put everything down on it. But if you have areas that the glue dried up, just go ahead and turn it up, add some glue. Okay. I want to go ahead and add my little focal point to the front of my book. I think about right there. Okay. Get this wax sheet, put some glue on it. Spread that glue out onto the black back of the card. I think I might have gotten a little bit too much. All right. Just sort of mop that up a little bit. Make sure I get my edges really well. I don't do a lot of measuring, I just sort of guesstimate. I'll put that down. Okay, all right, there we are. Our fabric covered altar journal. Hope you enjoyed making this altered composition journal with me today. Please check out our playlist and play along with me for all the others as well. So please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.